The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week on FRCmedia News, former Fall River Mayor Will Flanagan is attacked and stabbed not far from his marijuana dispensary on Hartwell Street. We recap our recent mayoral and city council forums. And People Incorporated cuts the ribbon on its new early education center. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. This is FRC Media News. I'm Keith Tebow. Former Fall River Mayor Will Flanagan was the victim of a stabbing Monday afternoon, resulting in serious injuries. The attack took place around 5 p.m. at the 100 block of Hartwell Street, not far from Mr. Flanagan's Cosmopolitan Dispensary. Mr. Flanagan suffered multiple stab wounds to his neck. He remains in serious but stable condition. Tuesday, police arrested 31-year-old Corey Gonzalez of Fall River. He's been charged with armed assault with the attempt to murder and assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. He's also charged with 4 counts of assault and battery on a police officer following his arrest. Outside the courthouse yesterday, Bristol County District Attorney Tom Quinn said Mr. Gonzalez has an extensive criminal record. This video is courtesy of WPRI 12 in Providence.
Just say that each case and each situation is different. When you say slip through the cracks, someone hypothetically who has a long record, it can be concerning that there's a repetitive nature of it, but dealing with each one of the matters, whether it's him or somebody else, has to be viewed in light of the specific facts of that case.
Mr. Gonzalez remains behind bars and will continue to undergo a mental evaluation. He's due back in court November 12th. The 2 candidates seeking to become Fall River's next mayor squared off in a debate this week hosted by FRCmedia. Incumbent Mayor Paul Coogan is seeking a 4th term in office and is being challenged by Gabriel Boomer Amaral. The Flanagan stabbing was referenced during the first question of the debate as the candidates were asked whether they feel Fall River is a safe city.
Fall River is a safe city. Do we have areas that need addressing? Absolutely. Like every city in the country that has a police department, there is more work to do. I just got the year-to-date statistics on a number of the crimes. Confirmed shootings are down 40% in the last year. In Fall River this year, we've had 2 homicides. Both are domestics. No gang shootings, nobody getting murdered in the city. Fall River has a number of challenges, obviously, from filling our police department, and we've worked diligently on that with the goal by the end of the year to have a full complement of policemen. We're bringing them in, we're putting them in a class, we're training them up. And one of the incentives that I brought forward was paying for all their gear and their equipment so they can do the job without being burdened by bills if they'll commit to Fall River for 5 years. I think that program is helping these guys because it's a $5,000 or $6,000 bill. At the same time, we bought the e-bikes to clean up the rail trail and allow our policemen to go up and down areas that they usually wouldn't walk. There's so many things going on in the police department. Our budget over the last 6 years from 2020 to 2026 has gone up 25% in the police department. We have additional equipment, manpower, using ARPA and a series of grants. We brought money to the table. Do we have warts? Absolutely. I make no doubt about it.
Thankfully, Mayor Flanagan is strong and stronger than we all thought he was. And a lot like the others that have been shot and stabbed throughout the city. One on Sunday, Mayor Flanagan on Monday, and here we are today talking about how safe the city is. So I disagree. Yeah, murders might be down, but the attempted murders are up, clearly. So that's not the case. The city is not safe. We can talk about the funding all we want. Our police department has been fully funded. It's an issue. within as far as not keeping and retaining our police officers. Our experienced police officers are leaving in droves. Our newer police officers aren't lasting very long because they're being worn out because of the constant overtime, and they can't get the job done. They just can't do it. They are working day and night, literally, and we are breaking our police officers. As you can see, we have great police officers, great detectives, and they do an amazing job. We can't keep wearing them out and burning them out without being able to retain more police officers to give them the breaks that they need to be at the best of their game and the best of their abilities. We are not safe. Thank God, and prayers with the Flanagan family and the family on Sunday and everybody else that gets gunned down and knifed in this city. Thankfully, they're strong people, and hopefully we can correct the issues and get ahead of it instead of, again, being reactive.
The candidates differed on how they plan to create more affordable housing units for city residents.
Working with the actual homeowners, the taxpayers, the 30% that actually pay the taxes, not the 3, 4, 5 people that donate to the mayor's campaign to get the TIFs and ties on 400 or 500 units, 50 units here, 16 units here, whatever it may be. We're going to let people invest, obviously. We need it. We need 6,200, whatever the units number is. We need it because it's an MBTA community. I'm all for that. We can't all do it all with just homeowners. I get that. However, we're going to give them the zoning privileges for a change. We're going to help work with the homeowner. You have an extra piece of land, you can build there. There's a 5-foot variance that you need, we're going to work with you. There's a driveway issue, we're going to work with you. We're going to work with the homeowners to help alleviate and build wealth for themselves, but also alleviate the poverty issue, the homeless issue, all that stuff. Because when you pay to build a home at $200,000, $300,000, you're not buying it at $1 million in this city where you have to charge $3,000 rents. And I don't care who says it, market rate rents in this city have never lowered rents a day in their lives, period. It's never happened, it's never gonna happen. If somebody's charging $3,500, this landlord now says, okay, I can charge $2,500 and still make money, but I'll still be cheaper than them. That's how that works. It doesn't, supply and demand. Everybody knows supply and demand. It doesn't work in that category. So I'm gonna work with the homeowners first and foremost. We're gonna have investors, we're gonna build units, we're gonna have that stuff, so the supply and demand portion is still gonna be there. It might work, it might not. We have zero evidence of that ever working here.
We've kept the affordable housing inventory above the 10% threshold that's mandated by the state as long as I've been here. We've also have another 28% of our housing with Section 8 raft. Right now, we're rehabbing 58 units in the city of Fall River for affordable housing. We just did the St. Louis School, where there's 12 of the 18 units were given Fall River preference for a reduced rate on condominiums. Our housing authority went on to work with us on a moving on program which targeted 20 units for our homeless people. We've increased market rate development across the city. We brought in over $3 million of home funds. We recently purchased a 16-room rooming house on Rock Street that we think will help us get some of our homeless off the streets for the winter and give them a fresh start. Since I've been here, we've reduced our vacant and abandoned units in the city, or houses, from 150 down to about 40. And we are presently working with the Attorney General on the Building Blocks program where we identify abandoned property. They help us fund it, we designate it to be rebuilt, and then we give the owner the opportunity to buy it back.
Both candidates were asked how they would efficiently handle the city's budget, which currently sits at over $500 million.
The predominant driver of increases is the school department. The Student Opportunity Act has driven the budget up by over $100 million in the last 6 years. That money is given to us by the state to spend on our schools. We also have another $13 million that must go to state assessments that are mandated. We have another $13 million that have to go to our pension assessments. And we've obviously put 6.8 into public safety and solid waste. These are almost all mandated expenditures. The budget itself for the schools has increased by almost 40 or 50%. The regular city budget has gone up nowhere near next to that. We have actually reduced costs in some departments. I understand it looks bad when you look at the number, but that money, the school money, is given to us in 80% blocks. We have to match the 20. So the city is on the hook for some of that money, but we are obligated to do that when we took our money on the Student Opportunity Act. Schools are the drivers. Schools, the kids are the most important. We have 11,000 of them running around. And everything we can do to help them, again, I'm all in. When you look at the areas where we spend money in a city like Fall River, it's public safety, it's education, it's DCM. These are our big drivers of the budget. DCM, solid waste, roads, sidewalks.
Well, we've already proven that the mayor is not responsible enough to manage it. We're looking at another $8.1 million that had to be transferred from city to school because they spend so much money they don't even realize it, that they were shortfall on the healthcare, that they now had to take another $8 million, which he didn't get approval for. He just decided to put it as something else, but that's really where it went. We talk about education being the catalyst. We are ranked 320 out of 356. So I don't care how much money they're throwing at him and throwing at us, and he says that the children come first. We are failing, exponentially failing our children. Our scores are lower, graduation rates are lower, the results just came out, IEPs we're failing, we're under DOJ investigation for how we deal with IEPs. All of this stuff is failing. So the money's not the issue. Like they say, the mayor, Tom Corey, they've all said it. We got more money than we know what to do with, and we have to spend it because they make us spend it. Great, we have to spend it. Then why are you taking city money if you have all this extra money? Why are you taking from the taxpayers while the fire department is suffering? Why are we doing that? These are the things that we have to look at. So an audit will happen in certain departments. That will show it. Transparency, receipts for every single thing is going to happen under my leadership. And we're going to put the money back in the classrooms where it belongs, where the education actually happens.
12 of the 14 candidates running for City Council took part in our FRC Media forums last Thursday. Among the topics, what neighborhoods, including the Flint neighborhood, could use the most attention.
I think that we have to do one step at a time, Dan. And the Flint does need revitalization. Let's work on that and see where that is. I've often said they should have a list of all the properties that are there, the square footage of the properties. Do they have internet access? Do they have handicap bathrooms? Let people know what's there and try to get businesses in there. I know they've done some facades around there. Some of the buildings have been bought. I think 4 of the buildings have been purchased. So with the purchase of those buildings and the developers going out and getting people to come in to do the work, 2 of them I believe were bought from a gentleman in New Bedford, and 2 of them I think was a gentleman in Fall River. You're going to see that place start to develop.
We need to make sure we connect our waterfront to our downtown. They need to connect. They need to talk to each other. With the Route 79 project upcoming, I really love to see that, and I think if we did that, I think that'd be great. What I also believe is continue to advocate for storefront improvement programs to revitalize these neighborhoods, whether it's our South Main Street corridor or if it's in our Flint. We need to make sure we do that. The permitting process, they keep going back. We need to make sure that's efficient and easy to work with. We need to continue to offer low-interest loans to small businesses for them to expand in Fall River. Whether it's improving their properties or their storefronts, we need to make sure we continue to do that.
When I first moved in 1999, the Flint, it was so vibrant. You got storefront, you got block party by Flint Neighborhood Association. Now it's gone. It seemed like a ghost town. And why is it a ghost town? Because when people go in there, open a business, less than a year they close. How come? Maybe because of no attraction, no much of promoted, much of maybe the parking space. But we need to do better planning with that. And I'm hoping to advocate more as to create like maybe a business alliance, just bring all the business people to come in and sit on the table and try to what can we help to grow your business? Because I am in the Flint too, and it is a struggle.
Sad to say, the entire South End. I've lived in the South End of the city until 2018, moved to the North End. I know they consider me a carpetbagger now, but driving through the South End, it's just so disheartening to see when you go Rodman Street, the Niagara neighborhood, Brayton Ave. I mean, it looks like a third world country. The Flint, East Main, South Main, Bedford Street, Corky Row, right? You name it. It just, we need so much investment. And this is where I think the conversation and the debate should really come into about TIFs and ties and the potential benefits that those tools maybe have in terms of getting these neighborhoods developed?
Over the course of my campaign, I've gone to almost every neighborhood association out there, and I think it's hard to pick one in particular because each meeting I go to, there are different challenges in their neighborhood. But when I think about neighborhoods like the Flint that have really been neglected, I have to agree with Councilor Kadim. The south end of the city, I think, really feels neglected. I think the residents I speak with, when I go door to door in those neighborhoods, are telling me that the other side of the city looks wonderful, and we want this side of the city to look wonderful as well. And I think we see that when it comes to voter turnout too. They don't show up as much as the folks in the north end. And I think if we put a little bit more money in those areas and supported them, they'd feel more engaged in this community.
Cocky Row area, yes. Downtown, yes. East Main Street, absolutely. But for now, I think the focus should be the Flint. I grew up in the Flint until I was 10 years old, and then I'm a carpetbagger as well. I moved to the Highlands when I was 10. But I remember the Flint was just bustling with activity. There was a movie theater decorated for Christmas. There were mom and pop shops, there were Lebanese businesses, there was French businesses, there was a Pleasant Drug where everybody bought their Christmas trees. It was just amazing, amazing as a child growing up until 10 years old in that Flint area. Now, I just see vacant storefronts. I don't see much going on there.
We made some changes in the facade in the Flint. I know that we've tried to put some programs together to help people fix the outside of their place. Recently, I got a phone call from someone who's a business person in Flint. She said, I did the outside of my building myself without the city's help. I was wondering if maybe the city could help me with some of the renovations on the inside of the building. So I contacted the city, had someone go down there, and they're working on it. They're looking to put new carpet in the place, do something different. Because if you want to revitalize the Flint, you just can't make it pretty on the outside and then have it horrendous on the inside. And if someone's spending their money to build up their business on the outside, and there's grants to help them along the way with that, but yet they don't get to recoup anything on the inside, maybe we should mix it up and help businesses overall, period, whether it's inside or outside.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that as time has gone by, the Flint was full of businesses. Well, there were so many businesses years back, and it was vibrant. And one by one, those businesses fell. And you can't have those businesses unless you have the population with the expendable income to keep them going. Fortunately, we still have a number of the mom and pop shops. They've managed to survive. But the Flint, South Main Street, many, many years ago, you can look, there's a whole story on the Granite Block. Downtown was booming. It was incredible. It all burnt down in a fire. And since then, people have wavered. They try to bring stuff in, and it just doesn't work. We just don't have, at a $31,000 a year income level in the city of Fall River, median income level, that's not a lot of expendable money.
Just times have changed. I was always a frequent visitor to the Flint, whether it was the Maki restaurant or other shops down there. I still go to Gilbert's Jewelers. They're very good. They're very, very good small business, family owned. But I think you mentioned other neighborhoods throughout the city as well, and I think what's really an important piece to the waterfront is the downtown. I know the downtown's doing okay, but it could be doing a lot better. And I think if we can maybe work on the downtown more, not ignoring any of the other neighborhoods throughout the city, but I think the downtown is very important. Conduit to the waterfront. So that's kind of where I would put some of my work with the next administration on that and the council if I'm fortunate enough to be reelected.
The Flint in specific has been neglected for many years throughout several administrations. Let's not just blame the time. Let's blame some people who were in charge that shouldn't have been in charge, that didn't do a good job. And now we look at the Flint and say, well, times have changed. Yes, times have changed, but in some places they have changed for the better, even within our own city. So let's look at ourselves first and then blame the times for it. Again, it's a matter of competencies. We need competent people running this city And I'm not just talking about one individual, I'm talking about everyone involved in government, which hasn't taken place. You know, I see a city council that sits there and votes yes, no, and I'm not here to talk anything bad about city councilors or any other official that's elected. They do their best. But I also believe in term limits.
I agree that the downtown area that's where our attention should be. Again, I keep mentioning revenue generating businesses. I want to mention and bring up the city of Taunton. If anybody's been to the city of Taunton, their downtown at the Green looks just like the city of Fall River. If I'm elected, I am going to personally reach out to Shauna O'Connell and see what her economic development plan was for their downtown section, because it is vibrant. There's people everywhere. Every storefront is full. There's restaurants. And their city's not much, other than having a few less people, it's pretty much the same type of city. How are they able to do it and we're not?
I've spent the past 12 years working in the Flint. I spend more time in the Flint than I do in my own house. And I've watched over the past 12 years the Flint and how it's changed and how it's good and bad. The reality is the Flint neighborhood and the community that exists in the Flint neighborhood is hugely invested in the future, and they want to see the Flint be vibrant. But there's two things that bother me about it. One is the aging infrastructure. We need to invest to let people get into the Flint before we even talk about investing in the Flint. And then once we get past that, we need to stop squeezing business owners. It's hard to do business in this city. We need to have a process that's much easier and streamlined for people to work and start small businesses in the Flint. If you look at the Flint, and a few of us have already mentioned some of those businesses that have been there for many years and continue to thrive. We need to make life easier for them to then invest their money and be successful in the Flint. And then that will just continue and domino in a positive way.
If you have yet to register to vote, the deadline to do so is this Saturday at 5 p.m. The Elections Department will be open Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The Elections Office has also mailed out absentee and vote-by-mail ballots. Those completed ballots must be returned to Government Center by 8 p.m. on Election Day, November 4th. To get you ready for Election Day, you can watch all of the forums, candidate statements, and interviews on our special Election 2025 webpage, frmedia.org/election 2025. The Fall River Fire Department has released a report on how it responded to the Gabriel House assisted living fire that claimed the lives of 10 residents on the evening of July 13th. The report focuses on the department's response to the fire and the challenges it faced, including the construction and safety measures within the building. It also focused on staffing levels available to the department at the time and the response made by the officers on scene. The report provides recommendations to improve operations in the future. The report reiterated the investigators' initial opinion that the fire originated within a second-floor room on the east side of the building. The official cause is still undetermined, with 2 possible accidental ignition sources: smoking materials or an oxygen concentrator failure. A few weeks back, we were given a tour of People Incorporated's new early education center on Weaver Street. Last Friday, the official ribbon cutting for the innovative facility took place.
This is not just for People Incorporated, but this is for the children, the families, and the community of Fall River. Today, we are not just cutting a ribbon, we are opening our doors. We're opening our doors to opportunity, to growth, and to the future of early childhood education in our city. When we broke ground on this project last August, we dreamed of a space that would inspire learning, spark curiosity, and support families. And today, that dream is real. This new early education center, as I said, provides care and education for 212 infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. It offers new jobs for dedicated educators, and it strengthens the partnership across Fall River. For parents, this is a place where children will learn, they will grow, and they will feel safe. For our teachers and staff, this center reflects their dedication and passion for nurturing young minds. And for Fall River, this marks a step forward in expanding access to quality education, an investment that will echo for generations to come.
Kevin Lawrence from Fall River Development News, you can find him on Facebook, is with us again this week as we discuss the local business and economic development news here in Fall River. Kevin, how are you this week?
Very well. Glad to be here again, Keith.
All right, let's get started. You know, a lot of talk is going to be happening around the reconstruction of Route 79 and development, which may go down there. But there's actually a pretty large development that's going to be starting sooner rather than later, also on Duval Street, not part of the Route 79 project, but right nearby.
Yes, this is at 609 Duval Street. The Zoning Board of Appeals last week approved a major project, an 8-story development, a mixed-use building. Now, 2 of the stories of the 8 stories are going to be a parking garage and office space and a restaurant on the first 2 levels. And the remaining 6 levels of this new development at 609 Duval Street will be 160 apartments. There'll be 104 one-bedroom units, 36 one-bedroom flex units, and 2 20-bedroom units. Now, this property is going to be 8 stories. It's estimated that it's going to take at least $40 to $50 million of construction to put this together, and it's going to be a major waterfront development project, although it's really not on the waterfront. It's pushed back. It's on Duval Street North. This is near the gas station, right as you exit the highway. They've just made a new street that parallels this new development. It's got 560 feet of frontage along Duval Street, and no construction date yet, but it has been approved by the Fall River Zoning Board of Appeals.
Yeah, very interesting. So that'll be, something, again, more to look at in terms of, potentially what may happen in front of it, if you will, toward the waterfront, although there will be more restrictions in terms of height than that special permit to go with the 8 stories with that project. All right, there's going to be some new apartments downtown, 10 new apartments downtown coming soon.
This is coming to the historic Drape Building, which is located at 377 2nd Street. They got zoning board approval last week for 10 one-bedroom apartments. There will also be 10 parking spaces in the back as well. This will bring some new housing to downtown Fall River, which is in need of some redevelopment.
And whereabouts is this on 2nd Street for, I guess, just for purposes of location?
This is near about maybe 500 feet from the Lizzie Borden house.
Okay. All right. That part of 2nd Street.
That's
right.
that section over there.
All right. And finally, a famous restaurant that was near the Westport border. Looks like there's going to be a new occupant in that space. And tell us about that.
There's going to be a new tenant for LePage's Seafood, which has been vacant for over a year now. The new restaurant is going to be called Anchor and Stone. The owners were in front of the Fall River Licensing Board. It's Tanya Novo and her brother Joshua. They are the owners of Black Salt in Swansea, and this will be their second restaurant. Black Salt, of course, known for its seafood dishes and modern comfort foods. Anchor and Stone will be their second location, and it'll be a seafood restaurant. Now, they're expected to purchase the building. It's still pending right now. Once the building sale is closed, they're planning on extensive renovations to the property, and they're aiming for an opening in the summer of 2026. The restaurant will be much larger than their Swansea location, Black Salt. The LePage's location seats 180 guests inside and another 40 to 50 on the outdoor patio. They're planning to hire between 60 full and part-time staff as well. So a little bit of a job creator in Fall River.
Yep. Great stuff as always. You can follow Kevin and Fall River Development News on Facebook. Please give it a like and a share. He would appreciate it. All right, Kevin, we'll talk again next week. Take care.
Thank you, Keith.
I'm Keith Tebow from Fall River Community Media.
And I'm Pamela Martin from Fall River Government Television.
The 2025 biennial municipal election is right around the corner. Join us on Tuesday, November 4th for results live from the Fred TV studio.
Our broadcast begins at 8 o'clock live on FRGTV Channel 18. Numbers from all 27 precincts will be announced. And former mayor and current Bristol County Commissioner John Mitchell will be back with us in studio.
We'll be streaming on Facebook and bringing you additional election coverage, including live look-ins from the mayoral candidates' headquarters.
Polls are open for 13 hours from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So please do your civic duty and get out and vote.
And we'll see you Tuesday, November 4th. That's all for this week's edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website, frmedia.org, for more local news and information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. on Channel 95 and the Fall River HD channel, which you can find on Channel 1072. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.